Ramble.
Thank you to Casetify for sponsoring this episode.
Hey guys, it's Keith. Sorry I'm missing the podcast this week, but it's because I'm on tour and hey, maybe I'm coming to you. I'm going to Bloomington, Minnesota. I'm going to Columbus, Ohio, Liberty Township, which is outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, Normal, Illinois, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Rosemont, Illinois. So if you are in any of those places, come see us. We're also doing a meet and greet in Toledo, Ohio. Go to lubergercomedy.com/shows for more info. That's it. Enjoy the boys.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, my God. The flimmiest intro of all time.
Let me try it.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. It's the... Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the TryPod. It's been a while. It's been a month since I've recorded an episode.
That's wild, man.
We just shot without a recipe all last week. That was a big old week, 12, 14-hour days.
Yeah.
And before that, I was in Mexico.
For those who want to know how our without a recipe, what goes into that show, this is our holiday season. So our November, December releases that we are shooting now
In August.
Yeah. To give our team enough time because those episodes are beasts. So look out. I mean, we're doing our biggest season ever coming up. It's 5 episodes plus a special 6th episode you'll hear about sometime in the future. So it's jam-packed. But the reason for this episode, what you're about to hear, is because as of listening to this, yesterday, you boys are on television.
Television?
We had our first TV show, the No Recipe Road Trip with the Try Guys premiere on Food Network, and it's going to be Wednesdays on Food Network at 10 o'clock. You can watch it anytime on Discovery Plus. And so this episode, we're going to talk to you about how the heck did we do that? How did we make a television show? What goes in to making a television show? What's hard about it? What's fun about it? The whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to reveal some nitty gritty, juicy details. It's going to have juicy goss. Hopefully we don't violate any contract.
Yeah. We're going to be dancing on a razor's edge this whole episode.
Agreements.
I feel like...
we're not going to be too pushy about the show. You can watch it, right? It's a great show, but we really want to just reveal the secrets.
Yeah, I mean, this is a long time in the making. I'm definitely curious to see what people think. But why don't we bring people back? Back in time, back to the beginning. I mean, Miles, this is probably going to be news for you too. You don't really know.
I don't know anything. Without a Recipe is like a machine that runs itself that I feel like I'm like, oh, they're shooting it, which means that, The Office is sort of in full production mode for 12-hour days.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to pause this TV story, Without a Recipe, which is from what our show is based on, very disruptive to your life.
Yeah, well, it is. We got shushed. We always get I always know I'm going to be shushed.
And that's because you record podcasts.
Because I record podcasts in here when you guys are recording out there. So there's always a shusher. And the shusher's always apologetic because they're like, look, I know no one wants to be shushed and I don't want to be doing the shushing. And so we get shushed. And that's kind of part of it. Damn. Maybe we should soundproof the door. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
And by the way, there's no way that the sound bleed has ever actually made it into it. Because we're filming for like 7 hours.
Yeah.
There's no way. But I do like that we shush you.
Yeah, you got to shush me. It keeps me calm.
Keeps you honest.
It keeps me honest.
You calm.
Keeps me calm. Yeah.
You're working and someone just intermittently, without warning, goes,
Yeah, exactly.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to ask you to be a little quieter in here.
Yeah. Well, I was an extra in one of the things. Was that the pilot?
In No Recipe Road Trip.
Yeah, right.
The unaired pilot.
Oh, the unaired pilot. I got cut for time.
Which did then make it on. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. And actually, we'll tell you the story, Miles.
Please,
and if you have any questions, please jump in.
I will.
Feel free to stop us. I mean, we have wanted to make a TV show for a long, long time. As the Try Guys, we love experimenting with different platforms, different forms of storytelling. That's why we wrote a book. That's why we went on tour. That's why, in addition to the formats on our channel, we have shows. We have different shows. It's just something creatively that really interests us. It's kind of a challenge. It keeps our brains nimble.
Yeah. And then in the early days, we were making videos that were 2 minutes, 3 minutes long, 5 minutes. Oh my God, it's 7-minute long video. It's so long. We were always interested in pushing content longer and exploring longer form storytelling. Ironically, now that's kind of the norm, and we do make like TV show length and quality things on our YouTube channel. But there's still a whole different set of like things that you have to consider when you're making a TV show.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back, when we were at the old Buzz Fuzz, we didn't think that creating a channel was the path forward. That wasn't even in our mind. We thought that the logical version of the Try Guys was to make the Try Guys the TV show. And so we pitched it. When we were still at the old Fuzz, we went out to Hollywood. We went to different networks. We got some interest, but it was then this nexus point of like, okay, we can make a pilot presentation, which is a half of a pilot. There was one network that's a pilot presentation is when they order not just a pilot is the first episode, they order half a pilot. And they say, can you make the first 15 minutes of your show to prove if we want to then buy a pilot, to then prove, and then we'll make a pilot, and then we'll decide if we want to make a whole show. A lot of steps.
And you got the old Fuzz as a middleman. So there's, they got to take their cut, and it's a little more complicated negotiation process because they're like, well, you're not just negotiating with 4 ding-dongs. You're negotiating with an equivalent powerful media company.
We were like at this
NBC's
nexus
like,
point where we were like, we kind of have already made like 60 pilots. I don't know why you need another one. Like we have all these. And then we were at the point of like, well, actually, maybe we can just leave this job and go do this other thing. So we did that. Ironically, one of the pitches that we had was with a big new media company channel platform that we will not name. And while we were there was a fire drill. And so we got locked down. So at the end of our pitch, we're now trapped in a room with these executives for a long time, and they're like, "So you got any other ideas?" Haha. And so off the cuff, we mention this format without a recipe, and we're talking about it. They love it. It's so great. And then we go, "Oh, and we did one online, and it's got incredible numbers." And their faces drop, and they go, "Oh, you did one online? That's one too many." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Stupid.
And they're feeling this streamer, they felt that they were in competition with us, with YouTube, and that if people could go watch it somewhere else, even if it was one episode, that was one too many. Now they don't have a unique product. So in our mind, we were like, okay, I guess Without a Recipe can never be a TV show. We're just going to make it online. We're going to make it the best we can. We're going to make it a television quality product. And that was like, we totally threw out any dream of that being a show, even though in our minds, it was such a show.
Yeah.
That's such a funny mentality too, because like, do you think
it's ridiculous?
Do you think that like with the Without a Recipe episode 1, whatever it was, absolutely quadruple fucking centuple outperformed like Real or Cake on Netflix. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like their mentality of just like, well, we're gonna make something that's never been done, that's sort of maybe a little bit bad, and we're not gonna use the learnings from like a viral media algorithmic thing.
Well, there is something interesting in that where hey, if our YouTube show does numbers compared to cable, how the heck are all these cable shows getting made? And part of it is this interesting thing where there's all this advertiser selling machinery that television has, where there's like the upfronts in New York City where all the advertisers like, P&G and whatever come to like a big ballroom and see all the new shows. And it's priced at a high rate compared to online stuff. And I think that is starting to, and has been shifting for several years now, where, YouTube videos are getting priced at higher ad rates, and kind of podcasting uses all the radio pricing. But it's like this thing where a cable show that gets 200,000 views can sometimes earn more revenue than a YouTube video that's getting like 5 million views.
Right.
Don't quote me on that. I've already been quoted. But like, there's probably something similar. That is probably a fair comparison, especially since a cable show will sling like 6 30-second spots 5 times in a half an hour. And they're all filled. So there's that.
And it changes the economics of what you can produce.
Right.
So it all goes back to what you can do creatively, because at the end of the day, TV making, movie making, all of it is a business, and the art is based in an economic place. All this time, I really thought that our data and the fact that we could test stuff online is what was going to make our ability to sell a show. We were like, this is a very clear pipeline. We have this very fertile testing ground. We have this audience. We're going to make incredible formats and then bring them up to you, the gods of Hollywood, and show you these incredible shows that we can make. And it turned out to be the opposite, right? So not
And
only...
it even didn't work on YouTube. Like when we made a YouTube Premium show, Squad Wars. Check it out, 2014's greatest hit. That it was an interesting thing where YouTube, as a network and executives, they were all bought in, where it's like, okay, we're gonna have homegrown creators.
Right.
Like these are all the analytics. This is why it's successful. And then when the actual production happens, they bring in an outside reality TV company because they want it to look premium, and all of the kind of learnings and stuff that company
all of our
didn't
notes on
have.
how to edit it,
And it was this thing where you're kind of clashing, where the traditional reality TV company is like, well, this is all stuff that we've learned for the last 20 years.
Trust me, baby, this is how you make television.
And all of us were like, well, this is what's going to work for our audience. And it's a big kind of, it can be a power struggle.
Oh, yeah.
A clash and a learning experience. So it was a learning experience for us. I don't think the show was as good as it could have been.
Squad Wars.
Yeah, Squad Wars.
For sure.
And fast forward to 10 years later, YouTube has now shuttered that whole division and strategy, because I think what they were trying to do was compete with, just basically make like cable shows and then ask people on YouTube to pay $10 for them. And everyone on YouTube is like, well, but I already just watch it for free. And yeah, there's ads, but whatever.
No, it definitely felt like trying to shove a round peg into a square hole at a certain point. So we had our show formats that we were trying to pitch out. I remember when Netflix nailed it, we were like, no, that was our failed cooking show. But then we watched it and it was different. Nicole Byers is great. But we brought out our Try Guys show, didn't work. When we started our new company, again, we still kind of had this idea of the channel to television pipeline. We pitched this show called The Try Guide, which was our version of a Queer Eye type approach when that was really hot, where we would then apply the Try Guys format to finding a specific individual, and still things weren't really going. So we had kind of...
Well, no, also, I mean, we sold the Try Guide, but as a condition of selling it, they wanted us to not make YouTube videos anymore.
Right.
And we were like, no, that's not going to work for us.
Wait, speak on that a little bit further. They didn't want you to make any YouTube videos, or they didn't want to make YouTube videos that were in that format?
No.
Any.
Like a lot of the
what?
kind of...
They wanted to buy us out, and we're like, well, but you're not
paying us enough to do that.
And two, like, you're going to then totally take away our opportunity to advertise the show.
Yeah.
And then three, like... What, you're going to buy 6 episodes and then cancel it, and now we just can't make the Try Guys anymore? That's
weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of like traditional TV networks that when they are signing talent or working with people, they want them to be exclusive to that platform. And it makes sense. Like you're not wanting someone to appear on a competitor's cable network. But it's like different for us, where, it's not just, we're not just a traditional talent like, gonna do a competitor show. It's like we have this whole like ecosystem of people that like rely, like there's going to be millions of people that are going to keep watching videos and not care about the show at all. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But like we have to keep making things for them.
You're telling me that if I make a TV show, I can't keep doing candid competition every 3 years? I'm out. So we had all but given up this idea of doing a Try Guys TV show. It really wasn't even on our agenda. And so we did not pitch this show. What's incredible is that our buddy, Huey Stonefish, who is in Louberger with Keith, was at a Passover dinner. And I think in New York, I think he was in Syracuse. I could be wrong on this detail. And this was pre-pandemic, maybe 2018?
Our initial meeting was probably 2018.
Okay, so this is 2018. Huey's at Passover dinner.
Maybe
and
2019.
He's across the table from this woman, Patty, and they strike up a conversation. What do you do? What do you do? Oh, my friend, I'm in a band with my friend Keith. You may know him from the Try Guys. Oh, Try Guys. I like them. I was actually thinking that they could be. So Patty is an exec at Food Network. And because of this Passover dinner conversation, she's like, I actually think that he would be good for this thing. Or I don't even know. She just had us on our mind. And so she got Keith's number. They start texting. They take a phone call. And I remember one day, this is back at our old office. Like we're in the rat's nest. And Keith goes, hey, I'm going to go take a call real quick with this Food Network person. We're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's cool. And Keith was like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll pitch them. He had this concept Cities by Sandwiches that he's always wanted to do. And like we didn't know what this was. But this chance encounter, I'm not going to bury the lead here, led to us then making this show.
Yeah.
She was a fan. She knew about Without a Recipe, and she thought, can we adapt this? I have a phone case. I love my phone case because it adds style to my phone, a little personalization, but also I'm a clumsy mess. My phone would be shattered into a million pieces if I did not have Case Defy. Case Defy's Ultra Impact Crush cases are some of the most protective, unique cases on the market. Look, I don't recommend dropping your phone from 9.8 feet in the air, but if you had to, you could do it because they've got the patented Chi-Tech 2.0 technology. There are tons of prints and designs to choose from, even fully customized cases that you can design on your own with an ultra slim style. It's gonna fit right in your pocket. I've got this psychedelic melted smiley face design, matches my clothes, matches my style. Another great feature, their signature camera ring. It looks really good, but it also protects your precious camera lens. One of the many details that's fine-tuned for 360-degree protection. And their cases are super eco-friendly. Their crush cases are made from 65% recycled and plant-based materials. Get one of the most protective, cool-looking, and eco-friendly phone cases the internet has to offer. Go to casedefy.com and use our code 15TryGuys, or use the link in our description box to get 15% off your Case Defy order. That's 15% off with our code 15TryGuys at casedefy.com.
Half the time, like, you think of a pitch meeting as this like really big, important thing, and sometimes it is, but oftentimes it's more developing a relationship with an executive and working together to kind of find that idea that's meeting everyone's goals. Like for the network, they have certain goals of we're trying to push it in this direction or this type of content, and for you as a creator, you want to do something that's satisfying to you, and it can take a while. I mean, this initial thing was like, okay, maybe we have a couple ideas, and then it's like, okay, maybe we have going to do something similar to Without a Recipe, and then it kind of evolved more.
I think, we had a general meeting. I remember we went in to their office that's overlooking that golf course in Culver City or Century City, and the first meeting was just kind of throwing ideas around, but it became apparent that there was an interest in Without a Recipe and how do we make it different? Because there was still this recurring thing of we can't just do the same show, because then people can go watch the show that you already have. And also, we didn't really want to give up the show we already had.
I think they would have just bought the show if we had agreed not to make it on YouTube, but we were like, well, we don't want to do that. We want to keep making the show. So let's think of it like we're going to make a spin-off. So we kind of align on this idea of a spin-off of Without a Recipe, taking some of the DNA of what works, but making it totally different, and also something that might be a little harder to do on YouTube.
And there was, through that too, a lot of challenges to make sure that we were, still protecting the audience here on YouTube, to make sure that we could continue to do Without a Recipe, because we knew that people love that. We didn't want to replace it. To make sure that we could continue to do our videos like normal, because we wanted this to be additive to the audience, to not take away from what we were doing. So, I think it was maybe 8 or 9 months before we even then got into a pilot.
Yeah, it was like 2 years.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
My memory is so hazy.
Yeah,
years are melted.
Initial meeting and like signing a deal memo, which is like a agreement that lets you kind of move forward creatively. It was over a year for sure, and I think it was closer to 2.
Honestly, one of the main reasons I have friends is to store my memories. I'll meet up with friends from high school, and I'm like, oh, thank God you guys know what the hell I was doing.
I just have little bottles of your wispy memories, like Harry Potter.
Zach, take a sniff. You were there.
You were there. But yeah, it was a it was a complicated negotiation because we have a lot of different stuff that we're doing. It's not like it's not like Food Network discovering a random chef who's posted one Instagram video and now they can kind of put them into the Food Network
or
machine.
a random chef who has no other media aspirations at all. We had to make sure that a lot of stuff that we could continue to do whatever the hell we want, basically. But we shot a pilot, and actually that pilot you can watch right now. We released it on our channel because, spoiler alert, it did not go to air. So they did not buy a season; they bought a special, which was their way of saying, we're going to make a pilot, and if it sucks, then we did it, and we don't need to tell anyone we canceled you. We'll release it as a special.
It's a special.
So it was the I don't know if we had the title at the time, but basically the idea was to do the Try Guys without a recipe as a travel format. So instead of just doing our normal shtick, we're going to go around the country. We're going to go to kitchens, work in the restaurants, which is a whole different kit and caboodle.
Food Network was very interested in breaking out of the studio, which we thought was a cool idea. Where let's get out of the studio, like go on an adventure.
They say a lot of their shows have the same visual language, which they do. So how do you mix that up? They were also interested in trying to attract a younger demographic. They were interested in bringing comedy into it. These were all things that really excited us. We're like, okay, cool, we can do that. We can travel. I love traveling. We can do some comedy. So the original pilot was a little different. It was 2 challenges, as is the final show. But in the first challenge, 2 of us go on, and then whoever is eliminated becomes the sous chef. If you don't know sous chef, because I didn't, I don't know anything about cooking, it is the assistant chef.
Yeah. And the challenge, traditionally and without a recipe, it's to make your own version of a popular thing. In a recipe road trip, it's instead of like a popular thing like bread, it's maybe something a little more specific, like a chef's signature dish. First challenge was still making your own version of it. Second challenge was recreating it exactly. And we tried doing that. It was cool, but it didn't really work as well. It wasn't like as funny, and it was just kind of super technical.
Yeah. There were a couple things about that original pilot that didn't work. I also think that in the first challenge, the food that we chose had too many steps. It basically was like 3 challenges, and we're used to making one meal last 40, 50, sometimes over an hour, on our channel. And here we're trying to compress that action we're trying to do two full challenges in a 42-minute episode.
Right.
So that's
an hour-long show, so that's like 44 minutes. 44 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So hour-long show, 44 minutes.
2 cooking challenges.
16 minutes of ads. And then, not just 1, but 2 cooking challenges. And then you also have the travel portion where you're meeting the chef and like tasting the food and talking about the restaurant.
City.
And some interviews with like people there saying like, oh, I love it. It tastes good.
It was too much.
That's a lot,
It was an over-ambitious format for the time, and so we learned a lot from that pilot. If you go to our YouTube channel right now and watch our unaired pilot, it's currently like 40-something minutes. I want you to imagine that crammed into half.
Yeah,
How the hell would you do it?
That pilot, we extended it to be 45 minutes. That was only half of what the pilot was. We completely cut the second half out for YouTube. So, it's very fast-paced in the TV show. And that means we have to pick simpler challenges.
So the good news, bad news, and not even just simpler challenges, is like, if we're going to do something like hand-pull noodles, maybe the dough's already made. Or maybe we don't focus on, or maybe, we had, like, we were all doing crazy proteins and doing different types of noodles and different types of sauces. It's like, let's focus in on it so that we can know that we're fitting the narrative there.
So that pilot was great. They loved it. And
they did love it.
Yeah.
And we loved it. It's good.
They loved it so much that they greenlit a whole season, which is awesome. And
but then they didn't love it enough to air it. So because we learned from it, so we decided to just, instead of trying to fix that episode, just fucking get rid of it.
So we actually had to license the footage that we shot
and that
from Food Network because we, at that point, no longer owned it.
Yeah. And that never happens, by the way. That's like, I feel like generally the story is like, we made a thing, the company owns it, it's dead, no one can ever see it.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it was cool that they, I mean, I'm stoked because we wanted to have a piece of, we wanted something to push people to the show. And we also were like, hey, well, let's not let this footage just die on the vine.
Yeah,
so
right.
I'm glad that they let us show it to people.
It's a win-win. Gets people excited about the show.
Totally.
Kind of gets you a little taste of the format.
So at this point, we're 2 years in. We've made a pilot, but the pilot has been scrapped. The pilot, by the way, was supposed to go to air. And they said, okay, it's going to go to air, let's say, May. Actually, we're going to hold it for July. And maybe can you guys... So we filmed a pickup to try and fix the pilot. So we filmed even more. And then they're like, it's still not working. How about August? Actually, you have a full season.
Weird.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened. So then now we're waiting. We're trying to find a window when it's safe. I mean, we're doing a travel show.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe the worst time in history to decide to do a travel show. But there was also something exciting about it because restaurants are struggling right now. We thought that by doing the show, we could kind of help bring attention to really cool restaurants around the country. And so it was just a challenge of finding a window when it felt okay. And we pushed it back a couple times as different surges popped up. And then finally we found a window where it seemed like things were going to be okay. The numbers were dipping. Let's get on the road.
Yep.
Is it time to finally talk about filming the show?
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
So
March 2022. We finally filmed it. We were very interested in having our production company produce the show. We hope that will happen in a future season. Since we had never made a TV show before, they wanted a production company that they'd worked with before. But then we were able to actually have that company then subcontract some of our employees.
So this company Beyond produced the show. They are some of the best. They are the best in the biz when it comes to food. I mean, they created fucking Chopped. They are the dudes. They're incredible. We had an incredible showrunner, Tim Farana, who jumped on. And even all these things I'm talking about, we have a different production company. We have a showrunner who's not us. And so it was really important to us to have someone from our team who spoke our language, who had our DNA, to have Rachel embedded.
Which was something we learned from Squad Wars.
Oh,
Because
yes.
you as talent, you're pretty busy and you're not always looking at it behind the camera. You really, either need to have a bunch of meetings ahead of time or you have to have someone that you trust be in the room with the other people that know the other stuff.
Yeah, and frankly, because of the way the show works, there's things that as talent, we have to stay in the dark about. So we don't really want to know what the food is and the steps of making it, or else that spoils our ability to cook it. So we need someone like Rachel, who we're just totally in tune with, who can then speak on our behalf. And by the way, Rachel produces without a recipe. We at this point, it is as much, if not more, her show than ours. And then we help with the performance. We do the performance and we help with the edit. So it was really incredible to have her. She crushed it. I know that the whole production team loved having her.
Yeah, basically at this point it's, should we do cookies and wedding cakes? And we're like, yep. And then we get a time for when we should show up.
Right, yeah.
So we were on the road, we're filming. And it was real. I remember, so we started our road trip in Los Angeles and Santa Barbara. So not much of a road trip to begin with. But I had all these butterflies in my stomach and all this excitement and fear of oh my God, after all these years, after all these failed attempts, all these dreams, we're making a TV show. And we get on set. I'm like, oh, this is the same thing. This is cool. This is nothing.
The exact same thing.
It's literally,
basically
it could not feel more familiar.
Pretty similar budget to Without a Recipe.
Oh, that's so funny.
A completely familiar, I just go get myself mic'd up. I'm gonna stand behind the counter. I'm gonna say these things, and then
Dick around with some dough and make some jokes.
Trying to cook.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting experience because you think that this dream that you have is something that's difficult or unattainable,
So
and then you
far
kind
away.
of finally achieve it, and it seems like it's magical or something. But you realize actually, all this work that you were doing all along led you to the position where that was easy, and then it's that's not even that big of a deal.
It was there was such a comfort in it, to be honest. And allowed us to just feel so natural. And absolutely, it felt like we had been training for this because we had.
Yeah.
And so
Do you realize the stuff that you're making on YouTube is basically TV shows all along? So like, it's not as, I don't know. It's not, I don't want to say it's not as special, but it's definitely, it makes you think there's this big disparity and then you realize there's not.
Well, I guess when you were going into making the show, what was the reason to do a Food Network show? And then now that you're done, do you feel like that reason was satisfied? Like, was it reach? Was it gaining legitimacy? Because we get millions of views on our food videos anyway. So like, what is the reason for a YouTube company like ours to do a Food Network show?
I think there's a couple reasons to do a show. Doing a Food Network show, I think, allows us a reach to a new audience. It allows us this new challenge of showing like, yeah, we can make a show. In fact, we already do make stuff that is of this quality. I think it was a way for us to put a feather in our cap and, I mean, just try something new, really. It is a sense of legitimacy, right? For better or for worse, there is still this gap between digital and traditional. And so we have shows that we want to make. There's things that we want to make that, again, as we said, the economics of YouTube don't really support it. There are formats that I'm interested in that you kind of need those TV dollars to do it. And by doing a Food Network show, that gives us this like, oh, these guys have made a TV show. They have a track record. I think that will help us continue to grow throughout our career.
Yeah. And you kind of now are suddenly added to this roster of Food Network stars. We kind of have been joking about it, I think, because we're uncomfortable with the concept, not having trained in professional restaurant kitchens. But, you know, Guy Fieri, Bobby Flay, Giada Laureantis.
Food performers, which I think is that I can get with.
But yeah, I mean, that can unlock all sorts of things for your career.
And what are those things that you have now that you've done this show? I guess like I'm curious.
We haven't. Nothing.
It hasn't released.
It only released last night, Miles. We'll find out.
I guess so. Yeah.
As of recording this, it may have fucking bombed, bro.
Yeah, should we check the reviews?
Yeah.
I mean, I made a cookbook.
That's right.
You know, Keith has a line of hot sauces.
That's right.
I have. Oh no, never mind.
Now, when you have a big moment like this, where like I feel like I guess you've obviously had moment like this. You've had so many of these in the last several years, but when you have a big thing where it's like, all right, our Food Network show's out. Do you allow yourself to enjoy that moment? You have them so frequently, so I would imagine that it's like fleeting, the joy that you get out of a big win.
Oh yeah.
But
you're asking the real questions, Miles.
Like, because look, you released a cookbook, you guys went on tour, you have a Food Network show, we won Webbies, we did all this stuff. When you get an experience like this, do you allow yourself to enjoy it? Or like, how fleeting is that moment? Are you even excited about it now that it's coming out tonight because you guys are such crazy successes that you get this stuff all the time?
I fucking love you.
Does it feel good anymore?
And I'm looking at Ned. I'm looking at the machinations. He's like, how real am I gonna get right now?
Well, first of all, it didn't come out last night. We're recording this a week in advance.
Yeah, there you go.
So no, it's not top of my mind yet. I haven't been able to see myself on TV yet. I haven't been able to see any of the ads for it. But I think,
here's a real thing. Next week, when this premieres, we're going to be in New York. So we will be staying in a hotel room, which means we will have cable. And I have not seen the commercial on a real TV yet. And that's, I think, when I'm going to get excited.
That's going to feel cool.
Yeah.
Because like we grew up watching TV all the time. You see commercials all the time. You're like,
right.
Wow, that's cool. We have our own TV show.
Apparently, we're running on CNN. A lot of my mom's friends have seen.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's
I guess it's Discovery is the parent company.
The Margot crowd is we're you ask why you do it. We're getting the Margos.
Yeah, that's right.
So to answer your question of do I feel anything anymore, it's something that I'm working on because the answer is typically no. I'm working on that with my therapist because I definitely there's something, the way that the internet works, it's like, what's next? And so it makes it hard to feel the wins when you're in it. And even now it's like, well, I made the show, months ago.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, I was proud on the day we wrapped
Yeah.
filming of the show, right? We had a little pizza party. I was proud of what we'd done. And I was proud on set the first day. Right, it's all happening
100%,
and throughout. And I think if we were able to have like a little viewing party, I'll be able to.
You'll feel it again.
Take a moment, but as it is, we're like in New York filming other videos. And
I don't want to say where well, actually, this was yesterday. So we're filming a Broadway video. So we're going to literally be in a Broadway theater where you can't have your phone. Like, we're going to be shut off from the world,
Right.
filming another thing, engaging in other media while this happened. So it's pretty funny. I had this moment where this was months ago where I told my therapist where I was like, I haven't like made anything that like fucking matters lately. And she goes, didn't you make like a super impactful, you told me you made this like super impactful disability documentary piece like 2 weeks ago. It was literally 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was only 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm really proud of that. And so she's like, you dumb bitch, make a vision board. So what she made me do is like to make a board where whenever I like don't remember, I can like literally like, because my brain is so dumb, I need to literally look at the things I've done to be like, oh yeah, I'm proud of myself.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, well, is it?
I don't know.
So-
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Vision boards.
The thing is cool. The fact that I need it is telling.
I think it's understandable. I mean, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very easy to forget, and that's something that whatever. But okay,
that's
so
the pandemic. Time goes by a lot faster in weird way. It both goes by slower and faster. You can think back like, oh, I haven't even done a single thing this year because you're trapped in routines. Then you realize like, oh wait, I did. I guess I made a TV show this year. Oh yeah, I guess I made a cookbook. But also,
oh yeah, I guess I created 2 human lives.
well, no, I know I did that. That's most of my days. Most of my days is that. There's an interesting thing also with like the promotional treadmill.
Oh yeah,
where you do a thing, and then I couldn't totally enjoy the like cookbook launch because it's like there's a whole bunch of interviews and press events and cooking demos and like this and signings.
You become a pusher, right? It's
right.
like-
You're just sort of just focused on the week that it comes out of all this like promotional and PR stuff.
Well, I think that you put it. It made a lot of sense to me when you just said like, well, if we have like a viewing party with The Office, where it's like those 20 people, in a way that matters more than like the millions of people that are seeing it across the world. Yeah. But it's like seeing a real human face, like watch something you made is really important.
Yeah, 100%.
And you can stop to actually watch it.
Yeah, right.
Right? Not just be talking about it. Like this very podcast.
So to go back, I mean, we'll kind of speed run the process of filming because, as we said, it was strikingly familiar. But what was fun about it is that we were traveling the country. We were in Atlanta, in Nashville, in Charleston. And so we were getting to hang out in these cities where we'd never been before.
I guess people should know that it's 2 cooking challenges for each city. So we filmed in 2 different kitchens, 2 different restaurants in each city.
And not the cuisine that you would expect in each place, too, which was really fun. Like we did Indian food in Nashville.
Right. It honestly, after like going on that really fun tour in 2019 and then not like seeing as much of each other, it was really fun to just be on the road with you and the other guys.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just was like a bonding experience. I think it was the most fun that we had as friends in years. I mean, to be totally frank, like during the pandemic, we were forced to exclusively be friends.
Right.
And we were like, I think we all got to a point where we're like, what other friends do I have?
Yeah, right.
Who else can I hang out with? And then we had this like road trip, and we're like, oh wait, I do love you guys. This is fun. We were driving in between each city, so I mean, God, I wish we had just GoPro set up of like our delirious ramblings in between cities. Eugene especially gets very loopy in car rides, and in a way that is so funny in a way that I'll never be able to explain. He like creates full characters and is the talking to himself,
voices and impressions. And
then
we'll all do like basically a 45-minute long improv scene,
but like based on the dumbest premise possible. And it's, when you're doing a dumb improv, the more you just buy into the dumb concept, the funnier it ultimately becomes. So I mean, that was just a freaking blast.
I don't know. Part of making a TV show is the economics change, and you are able to do things that, like, we spent 2 days filming. We spent 3 days filming each episode, and then there's travel days on either side. Like, that's kind of nuts. We couldn't support that doing YouTube videos.
Right.
Arguably, maybe it was a lot of time anyways.
We're
but,
gonna have to tighten it up if we do season 2.
Yeah, right.
yeah. But I guess that was part of the fun, is because like we probably would not have done that concept just online because of needing to, we spent a month making 5 episodes, and on YouTube we make 100 a year.
What really shocked me, so we all come from different backgrounds. Ned and Keith are performers. They're also different things. Eugene and I are behind the camera. We're also different things. But that's kind of the core of our interests. And so for me, I've always derived pleasure from the creation, not necessarily the performance. I didn't think that I was ever going to be happy being quote unquote talent. And that's really what we were. I mean, we pre-produced it. We had Rachel to make sure that the Try Guys had a voice in it. But me, Zach Kornfeld, you, Ned Fulmer, our job was talent. We weren't supposed to think about how it was being shot. We weren't supposed to be thinking about how it's produced once we got on set.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
It was like you don't really want to. I mean, maybe some people do. Maybe if it's a special scripted thing, you might have a like writer, director, like actor type of situation. I personally, that's too many balls in the air for me. I like to really, when I'm in front of camera, just really focus on performing as best I can, and trust that the people that we're working with have it lit correctly or have it framed correctly.
And we're doing that more and more on the channel as well. Like Without a Recipe, we're able at this point to just be talent. But it was really fun. And it also showed me like, oh, wow, we are, again, you talk about that preparation. We're very good at what we do at this point because we've been training on it. And so we were able to just plug in as talent, really focus on that. It was really rewarding in a way that I personally didn't expect that it would be. And it showed me, hey, if this whole thing burns down, sure, I can host some shows on E or whatever. That sounds pretty fun. So we shot the show. It was great. And now is time for the edit. And the edit was super interesting because we were trying to navigate what we do. And I mean, look, if you ask me, I think a huge part of what makes the Try Guys as a whole work is our edit. It is the way that we cut. It's the way that we construct jokes via contrast. The entire Without a Recipe format is a format of editing. It is, now when you're cooking, you don't want to do this thing. Cut to us doing that thing. We are creating comedy through the montage effect. And so we have interest in creating comedy shows. Food Network has their own interest. They want to create food shows for their food audience. Now, they also want to attract a new audience. They want to attract a comedy audience. So how do you take both of these things and compromise them in the same package? How do you teach a new production company how to edit the way that we like, but still make it not alienating to
the Food Network audience?
You don't
want to I don't know, maybe you're like cutting it too quickly because you're trying to
Which we do.
cut it like YouTube, or you're making it too like wacky or silly.
Which we do.
Right. And if everyone that loves Food Network and watches it every day is used to a certain thing that's more like Chopped, it's going to be like, oh, what is this? I don't like it. So it's kind of finding that balance between doing something innovative and original, and also like familiar enough that people are like, oh, not only do I like this because it is similar to the things I like, but it feels fresh and new and funny.
I'm oversimplifying, but I think that Without a Recipe is a comedy show that uses food. And I think that the No Recipe Road Trip is a food show that uses comedy. And that was the balance that we had to find over time. If it were up to me and I was left to my own devices, this show would be, the Food Network show would be a whole lot wackier. It would be, I would have, stupid editing, and we would have, crossfades and zany little moments, and honestly, maybe even sometimes you don't even know what I'm putting in my dish because it's all a vehicle for jokes. But Food Network very aptly said, hey, our audience expects a certain thing. They're coming here to learn. There's something like they need one teachable moment per commercial block, which was really interesting. There was one thing in the pilot where we debated over, they wanted to hear every single ingredient that was going into my dish, and they wanted to hear me read it out loud. And I'm like, well, that's just a waste of time. like, let's get to the jokes. And so it was a way of, when they're like, yeah, no, but our audience is actually, they want to know what's going in the dish. You know, traditionally in our format, we are the idiots and we have an expert to be the expert. Here we had to kind of compromise both, where we're certainly not experts, but we needed to put a little bit more of that cooking expertise into the action, which I think you see reflected in the show.
And trying to find a balance of making the jokes like almost food related, if that
Right.
makes sense. Like
Jokes for joke's sake are things that they weren't as comfortable with.
Really?
And I'm trying
because
to...
it just takes away from the process, like the action of what you're doing, like the cooking.
But for
and
instance,
oftentimes you don't have time for it. If it's 45 minutes split into two cooking sections.
But for instance, in our unaired, now aired pilot, there's this moment where like I wiggle out dough and accidentally almost bang, and I look to the camera and they were like, that's the moment. We love that. Like they wanted those moments where we kind of stumbled into success or failure, and it was like, oh, that's funny cooking. They wanted funny cooking as opposed to funny and cooking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, so without a recipe, we have like these full tangents where
it could be completely unrelated to the cooking.
Yeah, and it's fun, and I think that is part of what makes that show great. It's hangout, it is, injecting comedy, it's highly stylized, and so as you'll see, this show is different. It had to be different.
Yeah, because people are saying
it should be different.
Oh, I come here because I love Food Network. On our YouTube channel, people come here saying, "Oh, I come here because I like Try Guys."
Right.
They'll put up with something that's completely unrelated to baking cookies because they, enjoy watching us, and it's funny.
Right.
One thing that is really cool is we got to have, just as we had Rachel embedded in the production team, we got to embed YB in the post-production team. And so YB got to edit, I believe, episode 4 of the series, and in my opinion, the best one. I mean, she really crushed it, and it was really cool to see, like, our team... we've always said our team can make TV, and here it was. YB got put on their post-production team. She had to learn Avid, which if you know anything about editing, it's a different thing. Avid is an editing system where you don't even use a mouse. It's just keyboards. It's different keystrokes. It's an intense editing rig that, in my opinion, is also a little archaic, and I prefer Premiere.
Yeah.
But, it's a professional thing, whatever. She crushed it, and it's really awesome to see. We're super proud of her.
I didn't know she had to learn Avid. That's so cool.
That's intense.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, here's your first TV show. Also, learn a new editing system.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Wow. That rocks.
Yeah. She maybe had like used it a couple times in college, but like it's night and day.
Yeah.
When you get so familiar with your keyboard shortcuts, learning it differently, like it slows you down a little bit. You're still doing the same thing, but the buttons are different.
Right.
In different places.
What are some moments that were cut from the show that you guys loved that was hard to see go?
It's a great question. I gave a lot of notes on trying to teach their team our sense of comedy and our sense of rhythm and our sense of humor, because we brought in some great comedy editors, but we also had some food editors, and food editing, comedy editing, totally different things. And so it was really important to me, even though we were doing a food show, it had a different, as we've talked about, all of these differences, and here are the reasons why. I wanted it to be something that I was comedically proud of. And I was like, this needs to at least pass my threshold of funny. In the moments that are going to be funny, it's got to be Zach funny. And so, we didn't get the zany, wacky editing and the stylization that I understand why we don't have it, but that if left to my own devices, I would have put in. But I at least made sure that I was working with the team to figure out a tone of comedy that, again, I think hope feels different from what other stuff you see on Food Network.
And that's part of the challenge of making a show like that. But I think that's also how it can be rewarding. You're working with other people, right? The network's paying for it, so they kind of have the ultimate say, but they also want you to be like happy and be making something that is in your vision and voice, because that's why they're paying in the first place, is to make something in your voice. So it's kind of a collaboration. Which is
we're making
cool.
their show and bringing our experience and our taste to help make their show the best possible.
Yeah. The thing that was cut out that I thought of was we tried to make every episode end with a funny sign off that was toot hoot, toot toot honk honk and
To explain that a little bit.
It was cut.
Yeah.
We
I
Someone
can't imagine
driving.
why that was cut.
Well, it's like when you have something, sometimes genius isn't always
If you stare right at the art, it's too bright.
right.
We did a lot of zany, wacky bullshit, and they were like, yeah, okay, we'll just snip around that. I mean, also, if you watch Food Network, I think their shows are meant to like flow into one another.
Yeah.
And so anything that is too like, I feel like our show, if you look at it, like, if you think of it as like tempos, like drumming, it's, the map is all over the place. I'm mixing metaphors here, but it's like a seismograph going like, how's that sound for you?
Really good.
I think when I talk to our editors, I think about drumming when we're talking about tempo. So it's da 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 pa 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 da 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 da. You're mixing different rhythms. So you go really fast, you find a moment of pause, and now because you've mixed that rhythm, fast, and slow, that slow moment's going to be funnier. Am I just like talking an alien language?
No, that makes complete sense. Yeah.
So I really think about percussion a lot when we edit. And I think that what Food Network wants
For a while,
to be,
you had a bad habit of snapping at editors.
yeah, I literally I'll like be like I go like cut.
You like snap in their ear and tap the desk and realize like, oh, maybe
So
people
great.
don't want their boss over their shoulder doing that.
Let me drum it for you. Let me drum it for you.
No, I'd be watching with it and I'd be like, there. And because like I just like I feel it as like musically, and as Ned said, I was like, oh, this is expressing in a way that is so irritating. But like I can't verbalize it. It's just like a
Yeah.
it's a feeling. Guys, I love the cut, but I think what we're looking for is more of a da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Really, really great note to get.
Yeah, really
I'm
good.
a good boss. So, but what I think that Food Network and the way that their shows go is a much more steady rhythm throughout.
And you can watch the next one and the next
Exactly.
one and the next one and the next one and the next
I mean,
one.
Diners, Drive-Ins, and Drives, like, it is a perfect show. And it is a perfect show that just like, it's like the ultimate once you pop the fun, don't stop. You don't even know where episodes begin and end.
Yeah.
They fit 3 restaurants in a 22-minute episode. It's just
crazy.
like fucking like you just...
We're here and now we're here and now we're here and now we're here. And you
It's
wanna
just
eat
kind
this
of
and eat
incredible.
that and eat
and that's
this and
not
eat
what
that.
we do. We do stuff that we do it different.
Yeah.
So it's in that sense, it also was a great learning.
And I think the show will feel a little bit. I think it'll satisfy that like bingeable quality because it is 2 restaurants in one episode, where you can go to the first one, then go to the second one, and there's like a grand champion that gets crowned. I think we should mention it. It's 4 people competing in the first half, and then the 2 top places going head to head in the second half, while the other 2 are comedic relief.
And whoever wins the final episode has a chance to get their recipe featured on the final menu.
Yeah.
So at the end, we have this fun moment where we open a menu and it's, did your recipe make the menu? And I will say that some of our recipes did make the menu.
Yeah.
So if these restaurants hold true to their word, game on, motherfucker, I'm calling you out.
Yep.
They will have, like as a limited time, our recipes available at their restaurants across the
That's awesome.
country.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone's coordinating that.
I doubt it.
That'd be cool.
But that'd be cool. That's on them.
Yeah.
So that is, in a nutshell, the process of making a television show. It is long. It is full of compromises. It's full of learning. And it's, at the end of the day, you make something that is like the sum of all of its parts. It's not what we would have made without them. And I think that that's honestly kind of exciting.
Yeah.
It is a totally unique prospect. I hope you guys enjoy it. I think some of you will enjoy it more. Some of you will enjoy it less. That's fine. We can handle it. And the good news is that the stuff that you love that inspired it ain't going anywhere. We have Without a Recipe season coming. So we
Still
hope
making as many videos on the channel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So we really hope that this is additive to your Try Guys experience, and we sure learned a heck of a lot doing it, and hopefully it allows us to make more of this show, more of other shows, more shows on our channel. We really hope it just supercharges everything.
It's called No Recipe Road Trip with the Try Guys on Food Network and Discovery Plus, Wednesdays at 10, 9 Central.
And to answer the question before you ask, no, it will never be on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's not our show. We don't own it. So.
We don't own it. Although we were able to, as I said, license the unaired pilot, the single unaired pilot, which is pretty cool. So you can check that out to give yourself a taste.
Hey, everybody, if you're out there, I want you to just grab somebody and kiss them on the lips.
Mwah, mwah.
And if you're in your car, turn that turn signal on and merge left.
Merge left.
Merge left.
There's no road over there, Miles.
Oh, no! The car is crashing!
Merge left.
Oh,
merge
God.
left. Merge left.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
You see, this guy gets a TV show and he thinks he's too good for
Well,
advice.
he gets a
to go
TV
from
show,
Miles.
yeah. He leaves during the advice, I'll say.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, really hate to see that. I have a little piece of advice for you if you want your life to be good.
I do.
But if you want your life to be bad,
I don't.
then fucking mute the shit.
And merge left.
Merge left. Everybody, I have a little thing that's going to make your life full of joy in life.
Okay.
Ruh-roh.
Because I don't feel anything, Miles.
Scrowlander update. What you're going to want to do is take a little teapot, short and stout.
Yeah.
Here is the handle. Here is my mouth. Pour it in my mouth and I'm going to get wet. Sopping wet. Soaky wet. Slippery dippery down in the dungeon. Everybody knows that I'm going to get running.
I'm a motherfucking monster.
Get a plant app.
I'm failing to see the connection.
Get a plant app.
Now, which one?
Watering. It's not Spawn, but I use Planta.
Planta.
It's an app that tells you when to water your planties.
I love this. I'm downloading it right
and
the fuck
I have
now.
killed fucking millions of plants. And I'm here to say that if you get a planta, it's going to be like, hey, water your fucking pothos here. Hey, by the way, that plant's poisonous to your dog. Hey, time to change the soil. So all that stuff's going to be helpful for you to do. And I think that plants make a house better. And you may be thinking, well, I'm never going to pay attention to when my plants need to get wah-wah'd. Now's the time that you need to plant attention to get the wah-wah.
Now, tell me, can you like combine it with me and Maggie? So that like me and Maggie, so that like, because I want to know, like, cross it off my list where like we don't double water.
That's interesting.
Because that's always the thing. I don't water stuff because I'm like, fuck, she already watered it. I don't know.
I
don't want
fucking bet you can.
I
don't
hope
know
so.
if that's for sure, but I bet you can.
And if not, I see an opportunity in the marketplace.
That's right. Plan to fucking release your co-op package.
I thought you were going to say the plant apps where you, I think there's one called Picture This or something like that. And you
Identify.
just take a photo of a plant and it tells you what it is. And I love that. I love walking around the neighborhood and just snapping the little pics of the plant. Mm-hmm. And there was a really pretty one and it had a pretty name and I forget what it was. Oh, it was Latanya.
Yeah. Latanya the plant.
There's a plant called, it's a flower, Latanya. And I was like, ooh, Latanya.
No, that's really nice.
How nice.
But yeah, get a plant app.
I have to poop so bad.
Go.
No.
I'll close the episode out.
No.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. It's been fucking awesome having you here. And I just want to say, go out there and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the TryPod, guys. We're stoked about the show. We're stoked, but really we're just stoked to have you. We're stoked.
We're fucking stoked.
I'm falling apart here at the end. Look, I mean, we hope you like it. If you don't, my feelings won't. Well, they'll be hurt. They will.
Yeah.
But
it's good.
I tried.
The show's good. I haven't seen it, but I would imagine it's good.
It is good. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, do the subscribe, do all this stuff. We love you. Miles hits with the TryPod theme song. Stay beautiful.
Stay beautiful. I'm Ned.
Here's with the official TryPod theme song, Miles.
Yeah, what you're gonna want to do is watch Food Network. It's the TryPod. And then there was just me. all alone in the podcast studio, just how I started. Start every morning alone in here with my thoughts, thinking, wow. The silence gets to me sometimes. But then I realize it's just me and the microphones and the cables. Good night, everybody.